Hey, so this is going to be the full story of what happened with the hotel in New York. I'm not going to go into the information about like the internet speed or anything like that because that's not what this is about. This is purely about what happened with the bed bug thing and how they handled the situation. Um, if you follow me on Twitter, you will have a rough idea of what happened because I did post something about it there, like I think like last week or something, maybe the week before. So yeah. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you've probably got no idea what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, this is basically going to be that whole story. Um, so I'm not upset about the fact that the hotel had bed bugs. It's very, very common, especially in New York, for hotels to have bed bugs, and especially with how they travel. They're like the hotel or the room version of head lice, where they just transport on people's clothing, shoes, things like that. The same way head lice, they get onto like a hat or something, and then somebody else wears the hat, and then that's how they spread. So it's very, very easy for hotels to get them, and I understand that. I'm not upset that they had them. I'm upset about how they handled it, and you'll see what I mean when I get to the end of the video. So yeah, that's basically going to be what this is about. It's going to be this whole story up to this point. There's some things I can't mention. Obviously, like full names, email address, things like that, I'm going to cut all that out because there's a bunch of emails that I've got here to read out as well. So obviously things like full names and all, I'm going to keep that to myself, but there's some things that are, the situation has not been resolved yet. So what's going on with it now, I'm going to keep that to myself. This is just everything that's happened that kind of made me get up to this point is what I'm going to talk about. So, yeah, I was in New York for 2 weeks, so I had a 14-night reservation at a hotel, and then a different hotel, and then my uncle talked me out of it because he said that hotel overcharges. So he didn't give me suggestions, he just went, that hotel overcharges. I'm not going to say which one it was because it's irrelevant. And so I cancelled it and booked this one that I ended up in. Yeah. And like the day before I went to New York, I had like a gut feeling that something was off with this hotel, but by that point it was too late for me to do anything, so I was honestly like completely stuck. And because even if I cancel if I cancelled it, it would be really difficult to get another somewhere else on such short notice, and two, I would have had to pay for the first night, so I would have been paying for something I'm not even using. And this was like a premium rate too, so it wasn't exactly a cheap hotel. Yeah, once I checked in, first few days was fine, no issues. And then after I think like the 5th day I was there, I was putting sunscreen on one morning, and I noticed all up around here on my back to my shoulders, back to my arms, here, and on this side, I had like let's call it a rash because I didn't know what it was, but it was just covered in bumps on both sides. And I don't mean like 4, I mean like 40. So I'm not exaggerating. It would have literally been like 40, maybe more. Probably more. So this wasn't like a couple of bumps. This was loads. And at the time, I didn't know what had caused it. A couple of days later, so this is like basically so halfway through my trip, they started to get this rash started to get really, really itchy. So I spent a couple of days trying to figure out what it was, what could be causing it, anything like that. And then over the next few days, it got to the point where it was the itch from it was so severe that it was waking me up at like 4 a.m. and I had to go and get really cold face cloths, like, because up around here was like the worst of it on both sides, so that was like the most intense part, and that was the part that was actually waking me up. So I had to go and get really cold face cloths to set on my arms to try and soothe it enough to where I could get back to sleep. And then so that happened over the next few days, and then I got my tattoo done, and that night I was like, right, this was put in like the 12th day. I was like, right, there's nothing else it could be, because like, oh, sorry, so what I should put in here is Once I got up, after like the 10th day, I kind of realized that there was, like, it was kind of, I was waking up the next day with this rash being worse. Like, it like basically it was spreading overnight. So, as well, on top of that, the itch from it was the most intense at night. So I came to the conclusion that it must be something in the room doing it. It couldn't be anything else. So then the 12th day I was there, I got my tattoo done, and like I was in my hotel room that evening, and I was like, I need to find out what this is, because I don't even know what's safe. I don't know if I can sit on the chair, I don't know if I can be barefoot on the floor, I don't know if I can sit on the bed, I don't know what it is. I need to find what this thing is, because it can't be anything else. It's obviously something in this room that's doing this. So I took like the bedding and everything off the bed, didn't see anything, lifted the mattress up, didn't see anything. This was like I think it's called a divan bed. It's one of those ones where like it goes right down to the floor, there's no space underneath it for storage boxes or anything. I think they're called divans, I'm not sure. And then I had like a bed skirt thing over it, lifted that up as well, and there was like these little black bugs running about, and I was like, bingo, that's clearly what it is. There can't, because that's the only thing it could be, right, is these bugs. So there was like a skeleton of one, and then there was like one running back beside it, and I took some pictures and video of it, and then there was some hiding in like the little bed skirty thing. Very, very common for bed bugs. Is that they don't tend to stay in big open spaces. They tend to hide in like the cracks of walls and the folds and if mattresses and things like that. They don't stay in big open spaces for very long. If they do, they tend to scatter. So yeah, they also tend to feed at night, and usually on average it's usually only once every 10 days. So if you're getting bitten every single day, that means you're being bit. That means there's more than one. So I immediately went down to reception. There were people checking in, and I didn't want to mention, because I hadn't said anything to the hotel about what had happened, or that there was any kind of issue, because I didn't know until then for sure that it was the hotel, and I didn't want to jump to conclusions and assume it had anything to do with the hotel. So that's why. So I waited until I knew for sure it was the hotel, and so I went. So yeah. So I went down. There were people checking in, and the receptionist was like, "Oh, can I help you?" And I was like, "No, I'll wait." Just because I didn't want to mention it in front of people that were checking in, when I didn't want to create a scene when it was something I'd never mentioned before. So yeah. And then these people were still checking in, and she was like, "Oh, is your key not working?" And I was like, "No, trust me, I'll wait." So they walked away. They're standing at the lift, and I turned around and I was like, I've got bed bugs or something in my room." And she was looking at me like, "Are you sure?" Like, she honestly didn't seem to believe me. And I was like, I've seen them running about. I've got photos and videos of them, and I've covered it in bites. I could show these things to you. And she was like, right. So she called out a manager or somebody, and he came up to the room with me and got a torch out and went scan, and then went checked over the bed. And oh, sorry, no, when we were in the lift on the way up, I told him that there was like a bed bug infestation or something like that, and so yeah. Um, so he was like, he had like a torch out. He was going over the like the bed frame, and I was searching through, because at this point they'd all scattered, right? So I was going through the bed skirt frill thing. I found one that had like gone in like under one of the folds. And I was like, yep, there we go, there's one. And he was looking at it, and he was like, yeah, it does look like something like that. So we went around to the other side of the room and phoned down to like reception or somewhere and arranged for me to get another room, and called up and called up member staff as well to help me move all my stuff. Thankfully, most of my clothes and everything were already packed, because I don't even know why I do this, but I never use the wardrobes or anything in hotels or anywhere like that. I always just keep everything in my suitcase unless I'm using it. So the only thing, so my suitcase and everything was packed. The only thing I had to put away was things like my toothbrush, a laptop, you know, a couple of things like that. But everything was in my suitcase already, pretty much. So this guy came in, and then me, the manager, and this other member of staff moved everything to another room. So we went up to this like upgraded premium room, and then he was like, "Oh, you plan on going out or anywhere tonight?" And I was like, "Not immediately." And he was like, "Right, okay, I'll have someone send the key up." And I was like, "Right, dead on." So this was like, I mean, this was fairly early. This was probably like around like 7, something like that. Got to midnight, still no sign of this key. So I went to bed, got up the next day, went down to breakfast, and I went to reception and got the key myself. Which, this wouldn't have been a problem if they hadn't told me that they were going to send me the key. I basically wasted my entire night in this room waiting for this key that they didn't even bother to send me. If they hadn't told me they were going to bring me the key, I wouldn't care that I had to go and get it myself. It's just the fact that I wasted my entire night waiting for a key that they never even sent me. I'm annoyed about that part. I'm not annoyed to get it myself. I'm annoyed that I had to get it myself. I'm annoyed I wasted the entire night waiting for it when they said they were going to bring me it. So over the next like 2 nights that I was in this room, like in the new room, no, I didn't get any more bites. The itching it was still bad, but it wasn't waking me up from the severity. It was equally as itchy as it was during the day. And then when I was checking out, I went down to reception, and they were like, "What room are you in?" Gave the room number. And now, it was actually, I posted on Facebook that I got in a different room because it was a bed bug problem, and so a lot of people already knew about this before I checked out. And I went down and like to check out, and I said something about like, "Oh, is there anything off for having bed bugs?" Because it's kind of like common courtesy for any kind of lodging facility, whether it's a hotel, B&B, anything like that, to give you some kind of discount if you've got some kind of problem like bed bugs or anything like that. If there's ants in the room, cockroaches, anything like that, it's kind of like it's just common customer service, really. It's just like if you're in a restaurant and you find a bug in your food, they give you your meal for free, you know? So I went down, and there was actually loads of people on Facebook commented that I'll get a decent discount just down to general customer service. And so I went down, and I was like, "Oh, is there anything offered for having bed bugs?" And the receptionist went, "Oh, there's nothing on your booking about that." I was like, "Right, okay." And then she told me that it was a different receptionist than I'd spoken to like a couple of nights before, so she didn't know anything about it. She told me then that so basically I had to pay full price because there was no mention of there being a bed bug problem on my booking, apparently. And she told me that the manager would email me email me about it later. I was like, "Right, whatever, right, dead on, cool." Wasn't overly thrilled about the fact that there was no mention of it, because it felt like they were just kind of trying to like ignore the problem. But they told me they would email me about it later. I was like, "Right, dead on." So that was around midday that happened. My flight wasn't even until like something like 6:30 in the evening, 5 to 7, something like that. So that was like 6 hours, or nearly 7 hours actually, from then until my flight. Then there was a 6-hour flight, 7-hour flight, something like that. And then there was like, and then I had like another flight after that. That was like another hour and a half or something. And then I had some drama with my suitcase. So then I took basically, even with the time change, it was like 10 a.m. before I was back home the next day. So yeah, and even then that evening, I still hadn't got an email from them. By this point, it had been well over 24 hours. So I emailed them saying something like, "Oh, I was in your hotel from these dates. I reported a bed bug problem, but when I checked out, there's no mention of it, and you still charge me full price. Like, is there anything you can do about this?" or something like that. And then it says it takes anything up to 12 hours to get a response. Oh, sorry, something I forgot to mention, right? The day I came back, I went to see, because my mum works not too far from me, I went to see her because she wanted to know I was still alive, so, I went to see her, and then she knew about the, because she'd seen the post about bed bugs, and she saw like the extent of the bites, and she was like, right, you need to go to A&E. I'm taking you to A&E as soon as I get out of here. So I was like, right, dead on. So we went down to A&E, and we weren't actually in there for too long, because just because of what it was. Usually A&E, I've been in A&E 4 times in the last 5 years, and this is the only time it's taken less than like 4 hours. So yeah, just because of what it was, it didn't, I wasn't in to get stitches or anything. So yeah. But yeah, the doctor was like, wanted to know what had happened. I told her, and then I was given some medication to try and ease it. And at the time, I had the bug. Hold on. I bought this stuff when I was in New York to try and calm the bites, and so I showed her this, and I'm like, this is what I've been using. It's actually not, it's not really designed for bites that were extensive as mine. It's designed for like a couple of bites, but it was the only thing I could get, and at that point I was just ready to pull my skin off, so I would have just taken anything. And even the doctor was like, that's not really going to do much, and I was like, I was desperate. I would have just, this was all I could get, and I was just kind of, I'm just like ready to try anything whenever I got this, and she was like, yeah, I can understand that with how bad this is. So she gave me medication, and then oh, rest, the emails, right. So I emailed them in the evening, and then like I emailed them that evening, and they never, even with the 12 hours, after the 12 hours, they still didn't reply to me. So I was in talking to them again the next day, and then they were like, oh, did they ever go back to you? And I was like, no, they didn't, and it's been over 12 hours. So she ended up emailing them, which I'm gonna pull it up here. I got an update. I got automatic updates on my laptop, so like the layout of my email and everything's changed. So I'm just got all of them. I've been forwarded like every single email, so I'm just trying to find. Oh, yep, I think. Yes, there we go. Okay, so my mom found out that I told my mom that they hadn't even gone back to me even after the 12 hours. It says it takes anything up to 12 hours, so it shouldn't take, if they've gone for more than 12 hours, then they're ignoring you, basically. So she emailed them saying I'm obviously not gonna do like names or anything, full names or anything. Saying, oh, my daughter stayed there for 2 weeks. She reported something biting her in her bed to the reception and showed the bites on the arms and hands. She felt they didn't believe her, so after taking photos and video footage of the bed bug, she was moved to another room. On her arrival home to Ireland, I took her straight to A&E for treatment. I'm utterly appalled that she was charged full price of this amount. For this, 12 nights of hell and 2 decent nights sleep. My email is this address. And I would like to know what apology you intend to make. She emailed you through your website last night, has not received an acknowledgement yet. And then we got a response back. And by the way, right, see, after that was sent, they sent both me, they replied to me, and they replied to my mom, and then they replied to me, sending almost the same email. The second line of it is like identical word for word. They just changed the first part of it. So we get an email back. Thank you for your time to email. We apologize again for the inconvenience to your daughter. Your daughter had experience during your stay with us. We had our pest control company came in to check this room. We are waiting the report as soon. We were waiting the report. As soon as the report come in, we will get back to you. And then a couple of days later, we still hadn't heard anything. I mean, the only difference in that, the first line of that email about the pest control company, the first line was, oh, thanks for saying this. We apologize for the inconvenience, or something like that. It was almost the same email, pretty much. And then we get, and then a couple of days later, we haven't heard anything, so we go, oh, hi, can you please advise us how long it takes to hear back or receive a report from our pest control people, and what you plan to do once you receive it? My daughter stayed in your establishment from these dates, from this date to this date, this date to this date inclusive, for which is a full 2 weeks. She provided photographs and video evidence to your staff. Okay, that part, technically, that was something I said that one misheard. I did not show them the photos and videos. I told them that I had the photos and videos, which is true. I do have photos and videos. I took photos and videos. I told them I had photos and videos. I didn't show them to the staff. I showed them the bugs instead. So that was that part. It's wrong, but it's not deliberately wrong. It was like just misinterpreted. And show video evidence to your staff, and showed a manager personally some of the creatures in the bed. I feel you were not taking our concerns and complaints seriously enough. Staff informed her she would be contacted in 24 hours of signing out, but that did not happen, which is true. They never emailed me. She then wrote to you through the website and still heard nothing, only after I also wrote, did we get a remarkably similar response, but no action, which is also true. I'm very angry that she was charged this amount for the doubtful privilege of inhabiting a bed-bug infested bed for almost 2 weeks. So after Mom sent them that, they sent me, thank you again for your time to email. We once again apologize for the inconvenience you had experienced during your stay with us and for the delay in answering your email as I was out of the office. A percentage discount for your stay was given to you, which will show up on your account by this date. We apologize again. Regards. And then my mom replied back. It was a very okay. I don't want to say the actual amount, but it wasn't even the equivalent of a tip in New York, and a tip in New York is 15%. So it wasn't even a 15% refund. And considering, I mean, by this point you'll have seen the photos and videos of them and everything, like, not, like, for that kind of percentage, for the extent of how bad this was, is ridiculous, right? So, my mom replied back, I don't think that percentage in any way reflects the issue of 12 nights in a bed-bug infested accommodation. I would expect that she should receive, a minimum of this % discount. Please reconsider this. Please note that the discount we offer. Please note that this % is the best we can give you, because as soon as she informed us about the problem with the room, we immediately moved her to another room. Also, the pest control company checked the room and no bed bugs were found. Keep in mind, I found them myself, took photos and videos of them and showed them to their staff, and now they're saying there was nothing there. Which now it does. The report is attached to this, and it does say on the report that pesticide preparations were used. So, yeah. We've seen the attached report and note the pesticide preparations were used according to the report. I also see it states no bed bugs were found, but does not say when, in brackets. My daughter told your manager she had photos and videos of the bugs walking around on her bed and showed the receptionist distinctive raised bites on her arms, which are also on her legs and body. She was then accompanied back to her room by an employee who observed live and walking bugs in her bed. She asked if they were bed bugs, and he said yes. It looks like something like that. He then immediately moved her to a different room. It's highly unlikely he would have moved her to a different room if there was nothing there, as your report suggests. I'm attaching some of photographs showing bugs in her bedding and the distinctive bumps on her arms. We've plenty more of these photographs, as well as 2 short video clips of said bugs. As I said previously, I had to take her to A&E on her arrival back in Ireland, and she is currently attending her local medical practice for follow-up. Please be aware we are not prepared to settle for the percentage you offered. This is less than the standard tipping rate in New York, and in our view, frankly offensive. I restate our position that we require a minimum of this percentage. After reviewing what they sent us, please note, after reviewing the incident in which she had brought to the hotel's attention, we would only be offering that percentage for the inconvenience for the hotel. Did act proactively by moving her to another room when she brought the incident to our attention, which was 12 days later after her check-in. Now, that is true, but I explained why earlier, and we have to go, and then we also went and explained why to them. After that, if I can find, where's the email? Okay, yeah, okay. So the response, this is like the last email that we sent them. We haven't heard from them since. We are extremely disappointed that you are still maintaining the percentage that you offered, which, by the way, they didn't send that. They said they did, but they didn't. Despite us sending you photographs of the bugs that your agent seeing them in the room, she first noticed the bumps on Wednesday, the 24th of September. Itching set in about 24 hours after that. Well, it was more like 48 hours. Ballpark. It's very hard to say pinpoint, but it would have been 1 or 2 days. She did not intentionally consider it could be your room, as it is supposed to be a 4-star establishment. After Saturday and Sunday, having ruled out anything else, she set about inspecting and checking her room. As the itching was most severe after some time in her bed, she discovered the bugs and went to reception, where your agent accompanied her back and saw them. We feel this percentage that we asked for discount is appropriate and are really not prepared to settle for any less. We have now been in contact with this company and have done this, which that is still going on, so I don't want to say what it is. I do hope it can be resolved and that we will not have to consider further action. I am now attaching a pertinent document for your edification. So yeah, the document was just information about bed bugs, about like the size of them and things like that. So yeah, that's basically the situation right now. Like I said, what's currently going on, I don't want to say it. That's just kind of, but that's what's happened to get up to this point. So I'm not upset that there were bed bugs in the room. Like I said earlier, I'm upset about how they handled it. And that they're still handling it the same way. We haven't heard from them since, so I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, that is the hotel drama up to this point. I don't know what's happening. I have the people we've been in contact with about this, that again, obviously I can't say what it is. I don't know what's happening. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but that could take a few months to hear about that. So that's what's happened to get to this point, and that's the whole story. So yeah, I'll let you know.